Hey guys, I'm Daniel.
And I'm Matthew. And we are known as That Damn Brand. Yeah, we're here to talk to you guys today, introduce ourselves, talk about gaming, and so
And stuff.
yeah, gaming and stuff. So tell me a little bit about yourself, Daniel, since you're the D in DAM, which for the uninitiated stands for Daniel and Matthew.
Uninitiated.
But it sounds better as Damn, and it's more memorable. So anyway, tell us a bit about yourself, Daniel, in terms of your gaming history, like how long you've been gaming, what systems you grew up on, that sort of thing.
Well, I've been gaming since 1990. My uncle bought me an original NES, and I remember my first game probably being Duck Hunt and Super Mario Brothers, but I remember Super Mario Brothers 3 more vividly. I think I played that a lot more than all the other games. Of course, Battletoads. Never get past that third level.
the motorbike one or whatever?
No, I got past that once, yeah, but the motorbike level is the one I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's a pain in the ass.
I've actually been kind of wanting to go back and play that as an adult. You know, hand-eye coordination's there.
Right.
See how far I can get. But yeah, I remember that. Moved on to NES and Genesis. After that, had a PSX and a 64. Got a Dreamcast when I was already dead, unfortunately.
Yeah, so did I.
But played some Power Stone 1 and 2, Tech Romancer. I bought it for all those arcade games that you can get on the Dreamcast.
Yeah, it was cool as shit.
And then got an Xbox as well, a year after it came out. Because it came out on my birthday. But I hated it initially because I was anti-Xbox until I got one. Then it became my favorite console of that generation.
I think that's how a lot of people were, actually. I had a couple friends the same way.
And 360, and now we're here. I don't have any current gen consoles because last gen pissed me off, and then I just bought a PC or made a PC. But I have a pretty broad history.
Yeah, no, I mean, mine is pretty much the same. Actually, I also grew up with the NES, and Mario Duck Hunt Combo was the first game I played. I played the ever living hell out of Mega Man 2, which is kind of ties into my most recent tattoo of the energy capsule from that game because I really love that game. And I went to Super Nintendo, played. My mom ended up buying it after going to my friend's house and playing. I think it was like Kirby's Avalanche or Tetris Attack or something, and she just had so much fun. She went out and bought it for us because my mom was sort of a gamer back in the day. What's funny is when she used to play the original Mario Brothers, she would like move the controller when you try to jump across gaps with Mario. She would move the controller kind of almost like a Wii remote.
A Wii stick or something?
Yeah. She would do that like way before that became a thing. Like way before that's an actual means of controlling. She was doing that on the regular controller as if, like the regular NES controller, as if that was a way to help him get across the gap. So I always thought that was funny. But generally same story, like Super Nintendo. I didn't get an N64 for like a very long time. I think it was almost after the PlayStation had come out for a while. I got an N64.
I had two.
Wow, someone's fancy.
So I had the original black one. Right when the price, I remember because I was saving up for it. My mom said she would pay half for it. And then I went on a little splurge and spent some of my money because I really wanted to spend some money. But then right when I did that, a week later they lowered the price, and I still had half of it. So I was still able to get it. And so I got the original black one, and then later on when Zelda became big, I actually have one of the golden N64s.
That's very cool. I got an N64. I'm trying to think of when I got it, but I remember I actually did have it when I think the first Rogue Squadron came out, and it introduced the expansion pack, and that was like really damn cool. Like because it's just trying to play games without the expansion pack that require it was like you're missing so much content.
I never tried doing that. I had the expansion pack right when it came out because I thought it was a cool thing how you're changing out like you're upgrading it essentially.
Yeah, it's like getting a new graphics card way back when.
Yeah. So I couldn't go on without it for very long. But I never tried going back and playing it. Like I know Perfect Dark had it to like if you didn't have the expansion pack, you could only play 2 players, and with it you could play 4 players. I
Well,
know
and
that.
then they also gimped some of the single player story. I think.
Didn't Rogue Squadron come with the expansion pack?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like
And Donkey Kong too, if I remember right.
it was a Rogue Squadron, possibly Donkey Kong, and then Perfect Dark as well.
Oh, Perfect Dark came with it?
Yeah, I'm pretty
I don't.
sure.
I don't think so.
I can Google it real fast while you continue talking about something else.
Well, Perfect Dark. Holy shit! If I could put if I buy my memory card, I probably had over 400 hours in that game just killing bots with my cousins.
Ah, okay.
Like that, we were into that game. 4 player. All of us would be on the same team against 8 bots, and then we would vary the difficulty. We never really got good enough to fight like the team of 8 perfect bots, but we would do the custom ones, or
Dude,
we would mix them up.
those guys were a pain in the ass, man. Those freaking perfect sims, like holy shit.
I was thinking about it the other day, but Perfect Dark is pretty much GoldenEye.
Right.
How do people, like nowadays you have people that are really good. But this was obviously before the internet. You have games that were really good at FPS. Some people are. I guess the newer games cater to the Twitch players, but the older ones like Halo, you could still be good at the game and not be the best shot. That's what to say. I don't know if it's really like that in Call of Duty so much anymore. Like since your life was so much bigger in Halo, there was more room to play. You like playing around rocks, setting up trap. Especially Halo's grenade physics, and grenade bouncing or not grenade bouncing, like the way you would bounce the grenade around corners and stuff. There was a lot more to it than just shooting people.
Mm-hmm.
I was just thinking back in the day, how are people considered good? Like I was obviously the best out of my cousins. I could beat any of them, but there was so much auto aim in the fucking game. How could you be good at it?
Well, I mean, and the thing about that, like GoldenEye and Perfect Dark was like they had what do they call it, like tech or whatever too, like the remote mines and the proximity mines and that sort of shit. And then in Perfect Dark was the one with the gun that could see through walls and shit. Like,
that thing.
How much of a hacker is that? Yeah, but how much hack is that? Like, I don't have to have any skill because I can just see you through fucking walls. Like, man, hold up. But anyway, so they're checking on that expansion pack. I don't know if it came with it, but what it says is that the expansion pack is needed to access the game's campaign and most of the multiplayer features, and only about 35% of the game is playable without an expansion pack.
That's kind of garbage.
Yeah, exactly. So if it didn't come with it, you pretty much were gonna go buy it because once you start playing it, you're like, man, this is really fun. I wish I could play more of it.
I thought it only affected multiplayer. I didn't know it affected campaign.
Yeah, I remember.
Campaign, don't release it without it.
Yeah, I remember them gimping it like that. That's why I was like, man, it's a good thing I have this. But yeah, same general stuff. I played. I got Dreamcast when it was dead. I'll get to my favorite game in a minute. We'll talk about that. But it was on Dreamcast. And then I had a 360, and yeah, that's about it. Same thing. I got a PC, and that's where we're all caught up to today. So that's a little bit of our history. So, what would you say is your favorite console of all time, or game of all time?
Favorite console? I would have to say the original Xbox. Because I feel like I had all 3 consoles of that generation. I think that was the last generation that I've actually had all 3 consoles. Or I had all the consoles. Maybe the only generation that I had all the consoles. I'm looking to think about it. I just felt the Xbox was ahead of its time in terms of tech. Everything was always everything on the Xbox was. It had a hard drive, for instance. It was the first console that you didn't need to buy a memory card. I bought a memory card anyway because that's just how it worked. I like taking my saves around. It was the first console, or maybe not the first, because I don't know if Sony beat it to it. But you had to buy that extra hard drive. That was like an extra $100. It was the first console, I guess, best way to put it, out of box that could do DLC.
Oh, because of Xbox Live?
Yeah, because of Xbox Live. It was the first one to really do a real push for Xbox Live was the online platform. It wasn't even called PlayStation Net back in the day, or PSN. It was just online, wasn't it? Like each game was each game had its own separate ecosystem the way a PC does.
I think that was the case. There was like a Ghost Recon thing. It was one of the few online games, and they did like
I well,
Resident Evil Online or whatever.
Solcom was the first game online, and that was my favorite online game of that generation. No, no, actually, Splinter Cell was.
Actually, yeah, I got confused. I meant to say SOCOM. That's probably what I was thinking. Yeah.
But Solcom, I had around 2,000 hours in the first one, 2,000 hours in the second one. And Solcom's kind of the reasons I started hating PlayStation when I hated it back in the day, but we can get to that story another time. Like, as much as I thought Solcom was amazing and I loved my clan there, I felt the real innovation came from the Xbox.
I mean, I agree with you. I agree wholeheartedly with you.
So that's why it was my favorite, even though it was the one that no one liked and no one played on. The GameCube was tech-wise kind of well, actually no, the GameCube was stronger than the PlayStation, wasn't it?
I don't know. I don't know.
I don't remember. Well, the Xbox was the strongest. The Xbox wasn't more costly than the other ones, and it was more capable. It didn't catch on because it was the new kid in town, and everyone hated Microsoft for some reason, including myself.
Well, like you mentioned at the beginning, like I had friends that were anti-Xbox until I brought it to school and brought Halo, and they got a chance to play Halo, and like, dude, this is really fun. And then from that point on, we were having 4-player Halo matches every day during lunch. You know, I was having to lug around this heavy ass Xbox with controllers and stuff to and from school so we could play. My friend's mom was a teacher, so she had one of those like TVs with the VCRs like in her classroom all the time. So we would just go in there during lunch, play Halo.
I would host. That's actually how I met a lot of my high school friends. I would host on my birthdays Halo tournaments. Or not tournaments, LANs. So that was cool back in the day too, because that was the only console. Like I think you could do it with a PlayStation 2, but it wasn't really pushed as much as PlayStation. You know, this is like I don't know if Halo was a day one, but it was pretty close to being a day one. I know it was the face of the Xbox.
It was actually Halo was the launch game. I remember I had actually purchased Halo the physical disc before the Xbox even came out. Like I was bringing the instruction manual to school and just reading it on the bus and like salivating like I want to play this so fucking bad.
Well, yeah, that was November 15, 2001 was the launch day of Xbox, if I remember correctly. And you could have LAN parties with that shit. That was something new to console. That was something that consoles never really done before.
I mean, PC gamers knew about that. I mean, that's where the whole term LAN comes from, local area network.
But the point I'm making is, it was, you know, consoles nowadays are more like PCs than ever before. If anything, they are PCs. Well, I guess the old ones were too. But they, kind of like the Xbox One, it kind of functions like a PC in terms of the way the menu is. And I know that's what they're pushing for. They're pushing for Xbox being more of a platform than a hardware, which is why they're starting to do the Xbox Anywhere. But the Xbox was the one who started that kind of
like PC migration type of. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, like I remember it was really cool, like, you know, seeing someone else who had an Xbox and you meet up and then you like get the cable and connect it and you're like, oh snap! For now we went from playing 4 players to playing 8 players and then 8 players to 12 players and then 12 players to 16 players. Like head explode.
Yeah. And that was something that console players never did before.
Mm-hmm.
And me being exclusively a console player at the time, that was badass.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what about yours? Your favorite console? Since we went on a big tangent.
Well, it wasn't a tangent. I mean, we were talking about Xbox, and you said that was your favorite console, so it's reason to keep talking about it. My favorite console still to this day is probably the Dreamcast. I got it, you know, way late into its life. It wasn't dead, but you could tell it was on the way out. Like I got it, and the first game I played, well, not the first game I played, but like my favorite game also just tied into the Dreamcast was Phantasy Star Online, because that was the first MMO that I've ever played.
I don't consider an MMO, but okay.
It is.
It isn't.
It whatever. Anyway, so just that experience of meeting and grouping with randoms that I didn't meet, like never met before in my life, and you know, partying up and to defeat bosses and to go and grind for loot, and like it was just really fun. Like the thing I like most about PSO is probably the music. like the music still sticks in my mind. I can think of the individual level music and like the boss music, and it was just really cool. I remember being able to. There was a weapon in there that was like I think it was called a dual brand or a twin brand or something. It was like a double bladed lightsaber.
Twin brand is the blue one, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, and there was a green one and a red one. It
Yes,
was like
that cuddly was the red one.
yeah,
That's the one that I always found.
yeah, because it was like Darth Maul's double bladed lightsaber.
Yeah,
I really liked that. So and it was like it was really cool because people were nice. This was kind of before the internet grew really big and everyone like knows about the whole anonymity or whatever, however you say that word, makes people as act like dicks. So
yeah,
this is kind of like before that grew big, and so people were still generally cool to each other. Um, you didn't have griefers and that sort of shit. I remember I was playing with this one guy, and I guess I wasn't doing that great. So he's like, do you have any like legendaries or whatever? And I'm like, nah, not really. I haven't been playing long. Oh, this was another cool thing about Dreamcast. As I'm going off on a tangent, I had the Dreamcast keyboard. So like PSO had in-game chat where you could use the controller to
right.
scroll and exactly, but I had a keyboard so I could plug it into one of the slots in the Dreamcast, and I'm just like typing away, and so like that was really damn cool to me too. Um, so yeah, anyway, I told this guy I didn't really have any good gear and stuff, so he like dropped some stuff for me. So I equipped it, and suddenly I was having a lot more fun because I had better stuff.
Yeah,
So, and then Dreamcast is cool. Like PSL is my favorite game probably of all time. And then Dreamcast had like you mentioned earlier, Power Stone and Resident Evil
Power
Code.
Stone 2.
Yeah, Power Stone 2 was great too because of the four player.
Yeah, I didn't like it as much as the first one, but it was good.
Exactly, it wasn't as good, but it was fun.
It felt like more of a party game than a fighting game.
Yeah, kind of.
But
I,
anyway.
I remember going into like arcades and seeing Power Stone, and I would sit there and put like I don't know, maybe 2 quarters in and go from the intro all the way to the end because I've been playing it so much on Dreamcast and stuff.
Yeah, I used to go to an arcade called Diversions
Yep, me too.
that I lived across the street from, and they had the Power Stone. They had all the Sega fighting games. So they had Power Stone, and they had Tech Romancer, which I thought was my favorite fighting game from Sega at that time during the Dreamcast era.
What are the other Sega fighting games like Virtual Fighter? Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like trying to think. But yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, I played PS on GameCube. I never played it on Dreamcast. I heard Dreamcast had no subscription fee though, which
Well, so there was Phantasy Star Online. There was no subscription, and then they released Phantasy Star Online version 2 or whatever, and they called it a hunter's license.
yeah, I remember having to buy one of those for PSO on GameCube.
Yeah. So what's funny is I had actually bought PSO version 2, and then I saw the hunter's license thing, and I don't think I ever played it because I was like, I don't want to buy a monthly subscription. Like that took away from it for me. Even though it was cool stuff, I just was like, I don't know.
It's interesting to see how things have changed, and even in terms of how people think about online. Because a lot of people didn't want to pay for Xbox Live when it first came out, and now it's the norm to pay for it. Hell, PlayStation even was losing because people were willing to pay for Xbox and having a superior platform than having a shitty one like PSN was.
Right.
That was free. Like it's just weird how people. I guess not weird. People adapt, but
I was gonna say it just became the norm. I know what you're talking about. Like
Yeah.
back in the day, I kind of balked at it. I was like, pay a monthly subscription? Ha! Now I'm like, whatever. I'll do it. It's cool.
and even DLC is becoming more acceptable in terms of which is kind of another topic because of how it's accepted, it's become a
Abused practice.
cancer.
Like yeah, exactly. So let's tie that in the DLC to which I know is one of both of our favorite games. Actually, is Gears 3 for the Xbox 360.
Yes.
So that Daniel and I met each other in college. I was on the tail end. He was coming in, and we met over the original Gears. We were in the game room, and he was playing, and we were listening. You could stream music through the Xbox dashboard, which was a very cool feature. And he had his Zune and was streaming 3 Days Grace. And I just remember asking something like, "Whose is that?" And he said it was his. And so we were just kind of started talking, and we became friends from there. But we've always liked the Gears franchise, and then when Gears 3 came out, we were like pretty good at it. We got really good with the hammer burst, and um,
People
I
are gonna
know,
hate us for that.
yeah, Daniel, I know specifically Daniel used to get messages saying or accusing him of having a modded controller, and I think it might have happened to me once or twice. I know I've definitely got a lot of hate mail because we were pretty beastly with the hammer burst. Um, but going back and tying it into the DLC thing, what I was going to say was the thing about Gears 3 was its first DLC was on the disc. And I remember that really
I forgot about that.
exactly. I was gonna say that really pissed us off. I remember that we were like, "Are you fucking serious? We're basically paying money for something that's on the disc. We just have to unlock it with a key." Like that was bullshit. I remember that thinking that was complete and utter bullshit. I mean,
I remember
still,
Capcom did that a lot.
well, they probably, I mean, it's Capcom or whatever, but
Yeah.
that our beloved Gears franchise, and we like lost our shit. We were like, "Can't believe it. This is bullshit." And like,
I forgot what it was. Do you remember what it was?
it was like a map or two, and I think a character or something.
Was that Raven? No, Raven Down was the first one.
I don't remember, but I do remember it being on disc DLC, and we were very upset about it. So, I mean, eventually we got over it because we loved the game so much, but still, like that wasn't cool.
Not at all.
And then, like you said, it's just kind of becoming the norm. Hell, I mean, nowadays games come out like, for instance, Destiny 2 is getting ready to come out. It's by now it might actually be on consoles, but we just played the PC beta, and it's getting ready.
Days from when we're recording this.
Yeah, and anyway, so the Destiny 2 is going to come out for PC in like October, and they already announced the season pass, and like that's how games do it these days. They announce the initial game with the launch, and then they announce a season pass, which is
that doesn't bother me though.
Well, but let me make my point. So they announced the season pass, which is like you pay a certain premium, usually $20 to $30, maybe
Right.
$40 in the upper echelon or whatever, and you get 1 to 2 pieces of extra content. I mean, it ultimately depends on the developer and the game of how much they're willing to give you for what price. But that's just how the system works these days. They announce the base game, they announce the initial batch of downloadable content, which you can get by purchasing the season pass, and then it goes from there. If the season pass sells well, or if the game sells well, and then they feel like they can keep making it, they're more than likely going to keep adding more downloadable content. If they announce it and then they do the stuff and it doesn't sell that well, then why are they going to keep making downloadable content for it?
Mm-hmm.
So, tell me your thoughts on season pass. I didn't mean to cut you off. I was just trying to get that point across.
Well, it doesn't bother me when they do it the way, as let's say since I don't know the main game of Destiny yet, and I never played the first one, or Destiny 2, I never played the first one.
Never played the
Can't
first
really
one
comment on their DLC. But I don't mind them having a plan. I don't mind them releasing their plan. It's when their plan cuts into the core of the game that it bothers me. When you can tell that the game, like we saw that in the fucking Division, how, spoiler alert if no one's played it, how apparently you're gonna fight the main guy during one of the expansions. Like the game ends unended. Like,
yeah, you find out who the main villain is, and then you don't get to confront him at the end. It's like,
yeah, and it's like, oh, he's gonna come out in the next expansion or whatever. Like, well, fuck you guys. That's when it bothers me. When it's not a complete story.
But the thing is, I don't even think we're getting to fight him in an expansion or DLC. I think it's Destiny 2 is when you're finally going to get a chance to confront him.
Division.
Or sorry, yeah, Division 2. Sorry, but yeah, so Division 2 is where you're going to get to confront him. Like, I don't think he's going to be part of the DLC or whatever, or the Division. So
I don't know. Maybe it's because I felt the Division was a incomplete game in general. I'm giving it shit.
Well, I mean, we had some fun with it, but the problem is
it was bad. It was incomplete.
Right. I was gonna say the problem was that it did feel incomplete. They've done a lot of changes to it since we originally played it. Like I went back into it the other day, and it felt a little fresh. They're doing like world events now, where you're just out walking around in the world and stuff's going on, and
making it MMO-ish.
A little bit. It's still you only ever see other players that you're not grouped up with in the safe house, but or the dark zone,
I see,
which is trash. But
I like the Dark Zone. I think the concept's cool.
But it's a good
I don't,
concept. It was poorly executed. You know, the fact that at the time of launch or whatever, if you had the best gear, you basically just could go in and wreck. You know what I mean? Like people that didn't have enough time to sit there and spend 12 hours a day grinding in the dark zone or whatever to get the best gear, went into the dark zone trying to get the best gear during their free time and we just get completely stomped because we weren't the ones who grinded out the highest level gear or whatever.
I didn't have a problem with the gear being the best. I had the problem with the fact that I could go in there, shoot someone in the face a million times. Their life bar doesn't even budge. They shoot me like 2 and I'm dead.
Yeah,
It's like, look, okay, let's make the gear better. Like, if you have better gear than me, that's cool. Take more hits, whatever. But let's make it so that I can kill them. Like, then now there's just no fucking point. Like, it really was a gear grind. And if it was executed in a sense where, kind of like how if you ever played the old school Rainbow Sixes or not, how if you have a lot of armor, you could take more hits, but you were killable.
yeah, right. It just took longer, but if you were,
Yeah.
you know, a better player than them, you could kill them.
Yeah. And that's what bothered me about it. It took out skill. Skill had no place in the division. It was just a gear grind.
Yeah, I mean, and then you know they turned around and they went in a direction of fixing it. They added tiers, like gear tiers. So if my gear was 206, I couldn't go into like the 215 tier and fight people that had that gear. Like I was relegated to the 206 tier or whatever. So that you know they did made strides in fixing that, but it's I still feel like it's the exact same because once you get to the higher level, it's just like well the people that sit there at the high level and just grind out all the absolute positively best, sit there minimaxing their stats or whatever, are just gonna wait and then just wreck you just because they can. They think it's fun, like the whole griefing and all that. It's just I don't know. Man, that's been a lot on just talking about games. We haven't even got to the meat and potatoes of our spiel here.
All right, so let's get back to that.
Yeah, because we're at like almost 30 minutes. So that was kind of a brief introduction of what we are and you know our gaming history and whatnot. Well, you know, I'm sure if we just sit here talking, we could talk for hours. So to me, this is brief. So anyway, guys, what we plan to accomplish here is we want to create a website and on that website we're also going to post like videos and reviews and news, kind of like a regular gaming website. But we're also planning to expand to Twitch streaming. And what we want to do with the Twitch streaming is to kind of differentiate us from a few others is that, you know, we're doing it together. So if we say we're going to stream on a Saturday or something, you can actually check out 2 different channels, one that has Daniel's point of view and one that has my point of view. And so we're going to be playing games that incorporate both of us, so you can get different views of the same game and that sort of thing. Do you have anything to add to that?
Yep. I don't know. That was pretty good.
Anything to add? Yup, and then don't say anything. Great. Very great. I mean, you know, it's just kind of the general thing. Like, eventually we're gonna set up a Facebook page, and I already made a Twitter account and all that, and a YouTube. So we're gonna link all that together.
We really don't have a specific game that we're going to be streaming. Like,
right. So
in general,
the Twitch streaming, we're just gonna be kind of random, kind of whatever the hell we feel like playing, that sort of thing. The videos, I actually have a lot of footage recorded of Daniel and I playing various games over the years. Like, so those might be, at least for the first couple, might be kind of like what we deem as classic games that we played a couple years ago or whatever, just random footage of that. So those might be the videos. But eventually, once we get up and established, we're going to be doing videos, like video reviews or just gameplay footage of whatever. Maybe we'll archive the streams, that sort of thing. Not sure. Did you have anything else you wanted to add?
Not really. Not on that topic, at least.
Well, I mean, if you got something else you want to add, you know, not on that, not related to that, go ahead.
No, it could be something saved for another time.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right, we'll write it down so you don't forget. I usually have a notepad open with that sort of thing. Anyway, so all right, guys. Well, I guess that's we're gonna go ahead and wrap that up for this episode, our introductory episode of the That Damn Brand podcast. If you have any comments, critiques, etc. Hate mail, fan mail, things you want to see us
Oh,
talk
I love
about.
hate mail. Please send me hate mail.
Yeah, he really does. Things you want to see us talk about, or things you want to hear us talk about, games you want to see us play, anything like that. Send any and all of that to the current email we have set up is thatdamnbrand@gmail.com. That is that DAM brand@gmail.com. So go ahead and lead us out, Daniel.
Catch you guys later.